everyone. Oh, hang on, Vortex update. Never mind. We're updating. I didn't notice that. Ooh, still got stuff in his bag. I need to stop eating sweets. It is not good for me. Keep doing it, but probably shouldn't. Alright. So today, I have an entirely new concept for anyone who is in chat right now. Let me fix my microphone. Alright, so a few new things. One, we're doing a new Skyrim challenge. It's Skyrim, but I have to smith everything. And what that means, if it wasn't clear, because I don't think it is, I'm not simply just using items that I have to smith. No, I'm not doing that. I have to smith every single smithable item. And I'm not sure what other goals might be in this challenge, but I'm just going to smith. And that means we're going to have to also get our own material. That's right, I cannot buy the materials. I haven't researched anything. I think it's possible not to buy these things that I need. I have to kill the animals and get it for myself. I think this won't be too difficult. I mean, it'll be a little difficult, obviously. I have to kill a bunch of animals to source their hides, and then I have to, find ways to mine, like for ebony, get Daedra hearts, which might be pretty difficult considering the fact that I need to find a Daedra and kill it. There's only one place that I can find an item for that, and it's a constant respawn, which I might have to abuse because I'm not sure how else I would fight a Daedra and get a Daedra heart besides either stealing the material or buying it. And I don't want to buy the materials. I want to, find it in the world or, kill an enemy for it. And that is the quest for one of the Daedric princes. It's Maroon's Dagon. That's who it is. I had to remember for a minute. It's Maroon's Dagon's quest. There are two constantly respawning Dremora that both have Daedra hearts on them. So that's the only way I'm going to be able to Daedric Smith. I'm sure I could find a way to use the weapons I have and my armor that I smith to do bounties to make more money and therefore smith more things. Or rather buy smithing XP. I can level up other skills, of course, but I think the main thing, I want to get smithing 100 and also focus on just smithing as much as I can. So that's going to be what we're doing. Second thing, I'm actually writing a script right now for something that I am trying to write. I am trying to write, as of now, a video about philosophy, probability, and how they both interact in science, because as of last stream, I showed you guys that I was, using Eon Timer to get specific frames to get shiny Pokemon. Gave up on that, by the way. I just edited my trainer and secret ID and PK Hex to get the cute charm glitch to work instead, because I can't get both my timer and setting the time on my PC to work in tandem. It is quite annoying. So I did that instead. Because I honestly think I would be able to hit it exactly and figure out how to use it. I was using the Eon timer fine. It's just I cannot get both my timers to work at the same time, that's all. I feel I could get it to work in real life, I know that. I don't need to prove that. So I just set it personally. There was more Eon timer stuff that I had to do to get the Pokemon that I wanted. But I know that the route I had to walk would have been insanely specific to get the shiny Piplup I wanted. So I just made it in PK Hex. And then I gave myself a cute charm Pokemon first thing. Because I don't know. It had to be, I wanted it to be a low pony. I didn't want to do a Jigglypuff or anything. I might be doing a fun playthrough. It's not a challenge or anything. Just a fun playthrough of using cute charm. Seeing how we can mess around with the game. Possibly crashing it by finding a double shiny. But, that, I saw a video on, shinies and probability. And then through the video, the guy, he had a PhD, probability, and, forgot what it was called. A guy who had a PhD in probability and statistics, and he was able to do all the math, which was correct, but the one flaw I sort of found in it, as someone who's really into philosophy and graduated with, thank you for finishing, who graduated with a computer science degree and has a boyfriend who is not only a professor, but goes without saying he has a PhD in computer science, is that probability with computers doesn't necessarily matter. He was doing all the math on how, like, what would be the probability that a shiny hunt is really bad, or how soon you get a shiny. And the main problem with it, which I want to touch on in the script that I'm writing, is that it's pretty impossible to have a shiny hunt that is necessarily 100% random. As I showed in my last stream, that not only is the frame determined by a time and place due to the CPU clock, but it's the very fact that the reason why you would hit a shiny frame would be based on that seed. So all the probability and math you do, you would have to keep in mind the seed, the frame count, and how often you would hit that specific frame. And the only randomness there would be based on human interaction, not the game generating anything itself. And that was something that he never explained, which is very important, because you would also have to mathematically consider these other variables like frame advancements, the frame itself, how good the person was at just hitting a certain frame. And that is all completely different from just binomial mathematics, or just in general calculating the 1 in 8,192. It's not something you can just simply do. And I wanted to do a video on that because not only is a lot of this based on philosophy and the fact that there probably actually isn't probability from a philosophical and science and deeper pseudoscience standpoint, but just that video, seeing that and knowing what I know and how computers aren't actually random, I wanted to do a video on that. Not debunking what they talked about, because they weren't wrong. They got all the math right if you were to assume that it's 100% random, which it's not. But I wanted to talk about how philosophy used to be a science. It sort of died. Science is taking over, but they seem to be so concerned with getting things right and leaving out variables for the sake of being right, that we seem to forget that the more we delve into wanting to know things, which philosophy has done, the more we know we don't actually know. And the more we realize we can't know anything for sure. So I want people to remember that when they do certain things, truly, from a philosophical standpoint, it's entirely possible that nothing is truly random. Because think about it, if you had control over every single variable that determines rolling a 6-sided die to get 6 every single time, if you could control those variables, it could be very possible. And we call them random variables because we can't control the wind. We can't control this, we can't control that. But the thing is that there probably could be a way to get control of them and make a non-random scenario. These are things that happen all for a reason, and we know that from a philosophical standpoint. So technically they're not random. Everything happens for a reason from a scientific and philosophical standpoint. So the randomness that a philosopher sees isn't the same as a scientific randomness. And that video really made me think about that, because I'm also reading a book called Why We Think What We Think. I think it's by Dan Leroy. Let me see the name. It's in the corner. Yeah, it's Dan Leroy. I got the book from a pilgrimage landmark in my city, which I'm not going to name because it would give away my location. But most of my books are about Catholicism, but this one specifically was about philosophy, how it killed itself, and how by not knowing everything, we went to science as a coping mechanism, and then we kind of earned a relativism for morality because we can't truly know, quote unquote, what is good or bad. And how that plays into the fact that atheism is really big now because, well, if we can't know anything for sure, And there is no universal morality, which isn't necessarily true if you actually delve back into philosophy, but I'm not going to talk about that. I'm mostly just talking about the scientific perspective and probability itself. So I don't know when that video will come out. I just started the script today. I want to make sure it's a good video because it is a lot of philosophical, pseudoscientific stuff, and it's more so to get you thinking, not to be correct in and of itself. There's going to be errors, there's going to be disagreements, and I think there should be because philosophy is kind of dead, but in my opinion, it has never been more important. It's just we're now in a society where people seem to think that only their reality, their truth is real, and no one else's is. And by proxy, that has made us so desocialized that it's sort of killed society because now people kind of want to think you have your truth and whatever, and I have my truth, and let's leave it at that when that's not accurate. We all live in the same world where there's variables we have no control over, and yeah, we all feel certain ways, but there is an objective truth, and there's a lot of proof alongside the faith for that. And there is definitive proof that if everyone follows a same universal morality, that life would just not only be a lot easier for people, but we'd also be a lot more in unity and be able to understand each other a lot easier. And the fact that we all seem to think how we feel is subjective, that we don't really want to relate anymore because we just say, well, let's agree to disagree, but it's like, no. So I kind of miss philosophy for that reason because philosophy is interesting. It's the reason why philosophy is dead is because it killed itself. It made way for new sciences, which science is not bad, by the way. Many philosophers believed in a single God. Many philosophers were Catholic, and many of them supported science because philosophy is a science. And even the biggest theologian, all right, Thomas Aquinas, he enjoyed philosophy. I don't remember which one of the big three wasn't Plato. I think it was Socrates. I think it was either Aristotle or Socrates, but he got most of his information on philosophy in the church from one of those two because they were one of the main three. And the more you think about philosophy from those perspectives of those three and Thomas Aquinas, the more you start to see that science and religion aren't exactly separate. But that's not, of course, what the video is going to be about. I'm just going on a rant. It's going to be about how philosophy sort of, made science happen the way it is today, and how, videos like that sort of forget all the little nuances that really make you think and are important. So, again, don't know when that one's going to be out. It could take a month or two. I have to write it, I have to script it, I have to make the video. It's going to be one of my first ever videos I've ever made, from a professional standpoint, but it will be out. But for now, let's get this game started. This is new. I remember this being up here. Can't move it. Okay. I don't even know what that is. What was that? Immersive and adult. I don't think so. Nope. Not doing that. Alright. Alright, so I have no idea how hard this is going to be. This is a one-off thought process. Glad I'm being able to reach out and get more of my ideas happening, though. Because ever since I started this, even though I've been sort of burnt out and had a lot of things happening, I have to make a phone call. I just realized I'm dying. I have an appointment tomorrow, and I have to make sure this is going to happen. Excuse me. Right, I'm going to mute myself. Sorry about that. actually muted, because you guys would have heard a lot of personal information just now. Alright, now I gotta... Mantella's doing a thing again. Nope, did not mean to do that. One of these days I will do a thing where I use Mantella, but not today. Oh crap, I just remembered I have to record some things on one of my apps. I can leave